Greetings, ladies and gentlefish, and welcome back to another subscriber replay video. And in today's video we are going to join BritishB for a couple of matches in Tier 8 Premium Medium Tanks, and we're going to play a game of how many credits does he make. Spoiler alert, it's quite a lot. So, we're kicking off here in the Centurion 5/1. This is a Tier 8 British Premium Medium Tank, and just before we get any further, this is a tank that fundamentally makes me angry. Why does it make you angry, Chip? You love Centurions. Yes, I do like the Centurion. I do find it a lot of fun, but this is basically the Tier 8 British Medium Tank, the Centurion 1, but better. And you can pay money for it. Do you see where I'm going with this? It's the very definition of pay to win, essentially. And this irks me. So, now that I've got that out of the way, we're here on Muravanka, former home to the Magic Forest. Of course, these days, the forest is not looking quite so magical or so foresty. So there's that. And this is, well, it's a Tier 9 match, but it's not 357 matchmaking, so whilst it is a Tier 9 match, there are no Tier 7s to shoot at. So BritishB, is simultaneously not in a Tier 10 match, but also kind of bottom tier because there's no one below him. Go figure. Now, the gun on this thing, this is a 20-pounder gun, A barrel. I assume the regular Centurion gets the A barrel, although this thing's got the kind of gun muzzle sleevey thing, not muzzle brake, but the sleeve, that makes it look a bit like a B barrel. Anyway, it's a 20-pounder either way. 226 penetration, 230 alpha damage. So to do damage in this tank, you do have to kind of shoot a lot. The other thing to bear in mind is that 20-pounder ammunition is a bit on the pricey side, which means that guns with 20-pounders tend not to be the best credit makers in the world. Nonetheless, at the end of the day, this is a Tier 8 premium tank, so it's gonna make money. I guess the flip side is that as you have pretty decent penetration with this tank for a Tier 8 medium at 226, and the accuracy's good and whatnot, there isn't much need to fire premium ammunition. Although you can see BritishB is packing 23 rounds of APCR here, so that can offset the fact that it has expensive armor-piercing ammo, and only does 230 damage per shot. But you can see here that if you pick out your shots, you can happily damage some fairly heavily armoured targets, and you can see there BritishB picking out shots on the lower front plate of the object, and then by the look of it shooting down onto his upper front plate to negate the effect of any angling going on there, and hurrah! Scoreline is 5-2, which is nice. And British has picked up a kill for himself, and already I'd like to point out he's up to 2.3k damage done and over 1,000 assistance. So even if he were to spontaneously combust at this very moment in time, this has still been a pretty decent game. T54 Mod 1 trying to make a break for it, and for all the praises I have sung of this gun, the one thing the Centurions tend not to be blessed with are particularly good bloom values. So what you tend to find is the 20-pounder is good and accurate when fully aimed, but these tanks don't tend to snapshot very well. But there you can see, able to punch through the superstructure, of the Ferdinand there with regular AP ammo without much difficulty. Superstructure on a Ferdinand's 200mm, and 226 average penetration on this gun. Does take a shot in the side from an SU 130 PM, which is annoying. He does, I mean, the SU does slightly higher roll. The average alpha on that gun is, I think, 490? No, I lie. That is for the Scorpion. The SU gets higher alpha at like 560. So actually, that could have been a lot worse. The guy low rolled by a fairly considerable amount to get that damage count. The other thing about these British Tier 8 20-pounder guns and the tanks they're mounted on, the DPM doesn't tend to be very good. I mean, the effective DPM can be somewhat better because you don't bounce that many shots in my experience, as long as you've got a few moments to fully aim your shots. But yeah, the raw DPM isn't the best in the world. And you can see here, I don't think British is using coated optics on his Centurion, because if he were, I'm pretty sure he'd have the view range up to the render distance on the map. And you can see on the mini-map the green and white circles do not coincide. The Centurion comes with 400 meters base view range, so whack coated optics on that, and that's up to 440 straight off the bat. It doesn't take that much to get it up to 445 at that point. So I assume he's using vents instead, so I'm assuming a gun laying drive, gun rammer and vents, but I could of course be wrong, but that would be my guess. 4 enemy tanks left at this point, of course, 2 of them artillery, tier 9 artillery, 1 tier 8 tank destroyer, the Su-101, 1 tier 9 tank destroyer, that's sneaky Swedish Stridsvagn, and this type 4 heavy. Now the type 4 heavy, never mind, is dead. Artillery did his thing and took a dump on that type 4 heavy. Hurrah! 4 enemy tanks left at this point then, and this should kind of be clean-up time. Fingers crossed, though. You know, you never know, things can come a cropper, of course. So, just coming around the back here, you typically run into some artillery, especially when you're looking at machines such as the GW Tiger. It's not a very mobile tank, so it tends not to stray far from its spawn point. The M53-55 is a rather different prospect, but as it is, someone manages to spot out that Su-101, who I think is about to have a very, very bad day, and there's the Stridsvagn. Now, don't shoot at the front of that thing, that ain't going to work. There we go, there's the shot. The Stridsvagn has a very heavily angled upper front plate, and it basically relies on an auto bounce angle. So if the caliber of your gun, is relatively large, you can overmatch that. BritishB should really be getting down into that divot here at this point to deal with the artillery, otherwise he gets shot up by the tank destroyers, and there goes the ammo rack, which he puts back in. Ooh, there's the kill. Anyway, so yeah, the Stridsvagn has a very angled upper front plate, so unless you're going to pick out the commander's hatch right at the top there, you're not going to penetrate with this 20-pounder gun. Doesn't matter whether you load premium ammunition or what. So what you want is either A, to load high explosive, and the 20-pounder high explosive is not that good. B, to have a gun that has a high enough caliber to overmatch the Stridsvagn, and the 20-pounder is not. Or C, fire heat, I suppose. Anyway, that was that match. Have a quick think as to how much, well, you can see the damage count on the screen there. How many credits you think British might have made there, and we'll go and have a look at the post-game stats. So, here we have BritishB's results. Ace Tanker, perhaps unsurprisingly. Spotter. Demolitionist, I think? Fire for effect. Is that Demolitionist? Bruiser, sorry, why am I thinking Demolitionist? Confederate and a high caliber medal, a very nice result there. 4,865 damage done, 3 kills, 1,513 base experience. How many credits? Well, he cheated slightly. 30 shots fired, 27 hits, 23 pens for that damage count, most of which was from relatively close range. 3 hits received, 2 penetrated, 1 did not. 4 enemy vehicles spotted, 10 damage, 3 destroyed, 1,675 assistance damage, 2.8 kilometers travelled. And with a premium account, and with some sort of mission payout, take away about 20,000 credits in ammunition resupply, and you're looking at 206,150 credits. It's quite a lot. Pretty nice. Pretty tasty. So, we're going to do this again. I will give you a heads up. 1, BritishB is still running a premium account with this second game, and 2, he does get a mission payout again. So bear that in mind. Anyway, let's have a look at the second game. Here we go with the second match then, and BritishB this time is in the Tier 8 Premium Spaghetti Tank. It's the Progetto 46. Now you might, those of you, if you watch World of Tanks replays on YouTube, you might have noticed that the Progetto 46 does tend to feature reasonably prominently, and there's a good reason for that. It's good. Like, frankly, it's from what I can make out, and I haven't played it myself, but from what I can make out, it's a really good tank. So yeah. For anyone who doesn't know, it packs this auto reloading system that was introduced with the Italian tech tree. So you get, in this case, 3 shells, and you essentially, it's a halfway house between an autoloader and a single shotgun. You can use it as either. If you use it as an autoloader, it's not quite as good as a proper autoloader. If you use it as a single shotgun, it's not quite as good as a single shotgun, but the advantage is that you get the flexibility to, well, switch between them, basically. And you can see British here taking up quite an aggressive position. Now, this is 3-5-7 matchmaking, and he is top tier. So that does actually allow you to be quite aggressive. So, what do I mean by saying like it's not as good as an autoloader if you use it as an autoloader and whatnot? Well, basically, you've got 3 shells in the magazine, but the more shells you fire before reloading the next shell, the worse your reload becomes. So what that means is, if you dip into the magazine and use it as a full autoloader, like BritishB is doing here, your effective DPM is lower than if you were to just use it as a single shotgun. So, but you get the benefit of that burst damage. What a lot of people seem to advise is a good compromise is often to pump out, say, 2 of the shots, and then you can get out 240 damage per shot, so 240 times 2 is 480 in a burst, and you've still got the opportunity to reload your gun. It depends on the situation. If you've got the time and the opportunity to reload your magazine, then you're probably best doing that and just firing it single shot. If you instead need the bursty damage, then do that, but you get the flexibility. And what you can say about using it as a bursty weapon, of course, is that it does mean you expose your tank potentially for less time, as you just go out, maybe take 1 shot, bam bam bam, pull back. So there you can see British takes 1 shot from the T29, but executes him for the trouble using it there as an autoloader. This gun, by the way, 240 alpha damage, 212 penetration. If you remove the fact that it's an auto reloader, it's a very run-of-the-mill 90mm gun at tier 8. The auto reloader is really what makes it special. So, BritishB is already, by the way, up to 2.7k damage done. I should have pointed out, did I not say? I cannot remember. Oh, hello, darling. Hello, Mr. SU. How are you today? Are you good? Ooh, tasty. BritishB is here on steps. I couldn't remember the name of the map for a moment. Which is actually, I think, a pretty good map for this kind of tank. You've got the gun depression, the mobility and whatnot. Ooh, very nice. Now, taking that shot there, as there was only 1 shot in the magazine, does mean it's going to take a relatively long time to reload the rest of his shells. But, oh, he picked up the kill on that SU there, which is a very dangerous tank. I think that was definitely worth it. I'm not sure if I would be being this aggressive myself. I would probably be letting someone else take the lead, because the problem British has here now, of course, because he's fired both shells, his reload is longer, and so he's actually now on atrocious DPM. Look at this reload for this 90mm gun. If he'd waited until his 3 shots were loaded, and then if he'd come round the corner and just started firing them as a single shot gun, he would probably, and then just fire a couple of shots at the end to finish the guy off, he would have killed that guy faster. So that is something worth bearing in mind. Now, it's very all well and good saying that with the benefit of hindsight, because having just seen the engagement unfold, we know the KV-3 wasn't targeting British. And I understand that hindsight is 20/20 and all that, but just wanted to give you kind of an idea of how you can maximise the damage output in this tank. So what you'd have wanted to do is come round the corner, assuming your allies were there in the same situation and were going to soak some damage, come round the corner and use it as a single shotgun until you could execute the KV-3 with 3 quick shots. It just meant that you would have killed the KV-3 a little bit sooner, which might have saved some of your allies taking damage, and sometimes every little advantage can help. Speaking of advantages, there goes the Hummel. So, British really now wants to wait for this gun to properly reload before doing a huge amount more with it. I find with these auto reloaders, from replays that I've seen anyway, like I said, I haven't played them myself yet, it can be really tempting to just keep dipping deep into that magazine to get the damage out now. But if you're not careful, that can really stop you doing damage later on, and that is something that is worth bearing in mind. So 1 shot, oh no, the 2nd shot only tracks that KV-3. British is able to put the 3rd shot in, but then once again, He's burned through the magazine. I'm not saying it was a bad idea to take that third shot, but he's burned through the magazine. Long reload. Someone else is probably going to pick up the kill on this guy. I'd be amazed if they didn't. Should I prepare to be amazed? Apparently I should. No one else killed him. Oh well, go figure. Anyway, that's the match. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'd like to point out BritishB did so much killing, by the way. He was down to his APCR ammo because he ran out of AP. I will tell you the game client is reporting 6,095 damage and 745 assistance damage. So once again, how many credits do you think he made? So, that was enough for Ace Tanker, perhaps unsurprisingly. Hand of God, Bruiser, Duelist, Fire for Effect, High Caliber Top Gun, and is that a Pascucci's medal? It is a Pascucci's medal for killing 2 artillery, which is always nice. 6,095 damage, 6 kills, or 1,647 base experience. Literally no one else on his team did more than 1,000 damage. That was a carry. But, how many credits? Well, if we have a look over here... Wow. Even with 20,410 credits to resupply his ammunition, 6,020 credits to repair his vehicle, and 3,000 credits spent on consumables, that was a profit of 241,794 credits in under 6 minutes. It's a bit of alright, isn't it? Anyway, there we go. A couple of relatively quick replays for you there, courtesy of BritishB, in which we are raking the credits. If you enjoyed those 2 games, by all means, please feel free to catch some of my other videos and or subscribe to my channel if you have not already done so. Feel free to send me some of your replays if you wish. Upload the replay to whatreplays.com and send the URL to me on Discord or as a comment on YouTube. And I hope you have lots of fun murdering everything on the battlefield. Not in real life. In a game. Either way. Ciao, ciao.